Hello Year 10 students, parents and carers. Today you will have received a letter about the school's plans for the wider reopening. We know many of our students are desperate to return to school, however, many of you are naturally concerned about what this may look like. Whilst we outlined the plans in the letter, we hope this short video and the infographics will provide you with an overview of what school will look like over the next few weeks, so that you can make an informed decision. You will have also received information today about your allocated day in school, along with information about your allocated zone, pod and start time. Again, we hope this short video will ease your navigation of the guidance in the letter. Okay, so if we start first of all with students who have been allocated to the red zone, so that is students in R1, R2 and R3. If you have been allocated to the red zone, you will be in one of three pods. So if you are in R1, you will work in room 11. So basically a pod is a classroom. If you've been allocated to R2, you will work in room 53. And if you've been allocated to R3, you will work in room 94. On the day that you have been allocated, we will ask students that are in the red zone to start arriving at 8:30 for a 9 o'clock start. And that's simply so we can get students safely into the building. Students will be in school from 9 o'clock until 12 p.m. in the red zone. On the morning of your arrival, you will enter via the gates. They will be labelled Gate 1. And they're the gates which take you into the entrance by DT. When you come up the path, we will have plenty of staff to support with social distancing, and you will then enter the building via the entrance by DT once you've had your temperature checked. When you do go into the building, we will then ask you to wash your hands in a designated toilet. Finally, we will then ask you to go into your pod where you'll be sat in a designated seat with designated equipment, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So, if you are in R1, the toilets that you will be assigned to are the toilets by DT. So once you come into the building, you'll go into the toilets. Again, this will all be staggered. You'll be asked to wash your hands. And then you'll be asked to go into your pod. We'll be operating, as we always do in school, the usual one-way system. We've got plenty of signage in place, and again, there'll be lots of staff on hand to support with social distancing and making sure that you're going to the right place. So once you've washed your hands, you will then enter into the pod. So if you're in R1, you will be in room 11. So this is exactly how the pod currently looks. So you will see we've got individual desks. On each desk there is an allocated desk number, so that when you come in on your particular day, you always sit in that allocated seat. So if you're in on a Monday on desk 1, the following Monday you will sit in exactly the same place. You'll also notice here that we have given each student a plastic Ziploc folder, and that's where you will store all of your resources. At the end of the session, you will leave the folders on the desk. They will be sanitised by the cleaning staff and then placed in one of 4 boxes. If you can see those there at the back. So there's a box for each day of the week. So on a Monday, we don't want students going into the box that students have used on a Tuesday, for example, so we keep contamination clear. You'll also notice here that there's lots of space between the desks, so these have been measured 2 metres apart, and in this particular room it has the capacity for 12 students, but we've allocated 8. R2, when you come into the building, you will go up the back stairs and be directed to the toilets by maths. You'll be asked to wash your hands, and then you will enter into your pod in room 53. So exactly the same setup, lots of space between desks. This particular pod has a capacity for 14 students. We've actually allocated 8. And then finally, those students in R3, once you come into the building, you will again go up the back stairs to the 3rd floor, and you will be allocated the toilets and hand washing facilities by ICT, business and computing. Once you've washed your hands, that's when you will enter your pod, which is room 94. No difference. Room is set up exactly the same. This room has the capacity for 12 students. We've allocated 8. So in R1, 8 students, R2, 8 students, R3, 8 students. So in the red zone, there will be 24 students allocated, spread over 3 floors. Moving on to the yellow zone. So slightly different in the yellow zone, that we have not used the ground floor, because the ground floor will be used by students who've been on site since the start of lockdown. So, for example, those who are eligible for a place like the children of critical workers. Students in year 10 will instead be put into pods on the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. And they will be separated into 2 pods on each floor. So we've got 62 and 66 on the 2nd floor, and 104 and 106 on the 3rd floor. The students who have been allocated to the yellow zone will arrive at a different time to those students arriving in the red zone. And that's just simply so that we have a safe entrance and exit from the building, so and also so there's not too many students leaving and arriving at the same time. So if you're in yellow, you will begin arriving for 9:30 so that you can have a 10 o'clock start, and you will be in school until 1 p.m. You will come through the main gate, so that will be gate number 2, and you will enter via the main entrance once you have had your temperature checked. You will go through the main entrance door, and then you will go to your designated toilet, where you will wash your hands before entering your pod. So if you are in Y2, you will be asked to go up to the main stairs on the 2nd floor, and you will be allocated the toilets in between English and geography. Same again, you will go up, wash your hands, and then you will enter one of 2 pods, either room 62 or room 66. Room 62 is one of the English classrooms, so this has the capacity for 7 students. We've allocated 6. Exactly the same setup, desk, folder, boxes at the back for each allocated day of the week. The second pod in Y2 is room 66. So again, this has the capacity for 7 students. We've allocated 6. Those students in Y3, when they come into the building, they will use, again, the main stairs, but they will go up to the 3rd floor. They will use the toilets by Science Yellow on the top floor. Once they've washed their hands, same again, students will be directed to either room 104 or 106. So room 104 is a bigger room. It has the capacity for 11 students, but we're only putting 6 students in this classroom. And same for room 106. We've allocated 6 students. We could fit 9, but we are allocating 6 students. And I think that's important for you to be able to see the space that you've got and how safe, that has been set up for you. Okay, moving on to those students who have been allocated the purple zone. So that is P1, P2 and P3. Students in P1 will work in room 23, P2 will be in room 73 and P3 in room 111. Again, a different start and end time to those in red and yellow. So the students in purple will arrive at 10:30 for an 11 o'clock start, and they will leave at 2 p.m. You will come on site by the far gate, so this will be gate number 3, and that will lead you down to the entrance by the conservatory and the restaurant. Again, lots of staff will be around to support social distancing. You'll have your temperature checked, and then you will go into the building via the conservatory and restaurant here. So If you are in P1, you will be assigned the toilets by the restaurant. You will wash your hands and then you will go into your pod, which is in room 23. So huge classroom again. We could fit 15 students, but we have only allocated 10 students to this particular pod. If you are allocated P2 at room 73, when you come into the building, you will go up the back stairs first of all, where you'll be directed to the toilets in between languages and history. So once again, wash your hands, and then you will enter your particular pod, which will be room 73. So again, another big classroom, same setup. We've got the desk, the allocated seat number, you've got your plastic Ziploc folder here, which will be sanitised by the cleaning staff at the end of the day and stored in your particular box. And finally, moving on to P3. So when students in P3 come into the building, they will go up to the top floor using the back staircases, and they will be assigned the toilets and the hand washing facilities by Science Purple. Students will be asked to wash the hands and they will enter into their pod, which is room 111. So this is one of the science labs. This has the capacity for 12 students. We've allocated 10 students. So to summarise, in the red zone you will have 3 lots of 8, so that'd be 24 students. In the yellow zone we've got 4 lots of 6 students in each pod, so again 24. In purple, we've got 3 lots of 10 students, so that's 30 students. And because we've got the staggered start and end times, that is another safety element that has been added to our risk assessment, because it means that we are not having too many students arrive and exit at the same time. Obviously, if you make the decision to come back into school, it will look very, very different, but we do want to reassure you that the heart of the school will be exactly the same. We hope this short video has helped you to make a decision. We know that it's a difficult one for you and your families, and you have to obviously consider your own personal circumstances when you're making those decisions. Do take care, look after yourself, and look after each other.